is the Vsb TV 11 News for Wednesday, March 12th. I'm Peter Cattell. Our top story: the Bermuda Regiment will be 50 years old next year, and today, as parliamentarians debated the regiment budget, representatives of the 9 colonels, who are keen to retain the service's current status, are optimistic. Former commanding officers, Lieutenant Colonels Alan Rance and David Gibbons, say the group have met with both sides of the political divide and other interested parties to determine the way forward.
If you wish to keep the regiment strong, then you've got to look at having more than one plan for the manning of the regiment. We fully encourage volunteerism, and we fully encourage the government to create policies to get as many volunteers as possible. But we think it's extremely risky if you go with just planning on all volunteers only. There needs to be a Plan B.
When will Plan B come into fruition?
Well, Plan B is on the books right now, of course, with conscription. What might be a change in Plan B would entirely depend, of course, on the political masters as to whether they look at perhaps some form of national service or some broader form of service that takes in everybody, and not just the selective few who are drawn for compulsory military service.
What we found in our discussions with people is there's a degree of education that is still required as to how we're currently getting the 120, 130 individuals, where they're coming from, how many are male, how many are female, how do you sustain that, how do you make the regiment more relevant to young millenniums of these days. So we're hoping now to spread the message on a broader scale, hence the reason that we're right here, to be able to say that the regiment is an integral part of things and continue to grow that support that exists out there and take that forward.
After he and Premier Cannonier were praised in Parliament for adjusting the Hamilton-Sargasso Sea Declaration at the 11th hour to spare the exclusive economic zone from outside control, Environment Minister Trevor Moniz spoke of the importance of keeping stakeholders in the loop.
The Hamilton Declaration on the Sargasso Sea was always supposed to be about the high seas, and it's about the stewardship of the environment within the Sargasso Sea. Bermuda was always playing a leading role because we're smack dab in the middle of the Sargasso Sea. But it was never the intention to take away management of the waters within the EEZ from the Bermuda government. But the wording was a little bit vague in the declaration itself. The map was a little bit vague, and we had a meeting with stakeholders, the Premier and myself, and we asked for a small change of wording, which was effective, and everyone was very cooperative. We had an extremely good meeting. We not only we have the U.S. governments on board. We had some of the governments down south on board. The British government signed it. And we had a number of governments who came and said it's their intention to sign. And they certainly evinced that intention to sign by sending someone to be present at the meeting and to speak and show their support. So it's a very important beginning.
As an indication that Speaker Randolph Horton is getting tough at last with members of Parliament whose comments get out of line during debates in the House, came today when OBA Junior Minister Sylvan Richards was required to make a public apology on the floor after meeting in private with the Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, according to Standing Order 1911D, I ran afoul of the orders of this House on Monday, and I used language which was unparliamentary. I apologize to you, Mr. Speaker, and all members of the House for this regretful use of unparliamentary language. I am mindful of your warning and withdraw the unparliamentary language. It will not happen again. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you, Honourable Member.
Shadow Education Minister Walton Brown, a former college chairman, has accused government of deserting its young people after learning that the budget has taken a huge cut out of scholarship funding.
The most fundamental gap, problem with the education budget allocation is the absolutely paltry, scandalous sum of money allocated for scholarships for those in need. it went down from a high, not a high, but from 760,000 in 2012 to a meager 40,000 this year. That means it is of almost no benefit to the student body. I would not have been able to study overseas had I not received government funding, and I suspect there will be scores and scores of young people who will be unable to fulfill their educational ambitions this current year. And you know, I recognize the tremendous challenge that we face today, but when you're increasing significantly the amounts of money for the Washington office, when you're giving big increases in other areas, and you're saying to young people, we don't care about you, because a $40,000 contribution toward further education supports is an absolute insult. And I've implored the minister to reset the moral compass and to demonstrate through tangible actions that the government cares about its young people.
A Latvian national who was convicted of 25 years in prison for possession of around $50 million worth of cocaine into Bermuda launched an appeal in the Court of Appeals today. Yanis Zegelis was convicted 2 years ago after customs had searched his sailboat and found cocaine as well as a gun and ammunition. Zegelis had sailed to Bermuda from Trinidad in August 2011, and subsequently customs came on board and found the contraband. At the time he was sentenced, Supreme Court Judge Carlisle Graves stated that he took into account that the drugs were not destined for Bermuda. However, maintained that a message must be sent that Bermuda is not the place to be caught with illegal drugs. During Zegelis' trial, he had maintained that he had no prior knowledge of the drugs or gun and ammunition. Mr. Zegelis said he had been paid to sail his boat from Trinidad to Latvia and was forced to divert to Bermuda along the way after experiencing problems on the high seas. The case continues in the Court of Appeals. The Corporation of Hamilton has disclosed the first 5 recipients of plaques that will be placed on the Walkway of Fame. The Walkway of Fame is intended to create a walkway from Front Street along Court Street, bringing residents and visitors into the area, and to pay tribute to those who have made contributions to Bermuda as a whole. It is the hope that the walkway will also encourage and increase commerce and subsequently create more of a buzz on Court Street. Plaques are currently being placed in identified locations along Court Street to mark the contributions to Bermuda and her people made by the first 5 recipients. The honorees, who are Stan Lord Necktie Seymour, Hilary Soares, Edward Skinner, Hazel Christopher, and Edith and Matilda Crawford, were all nominated by members of the public as well as the selection committee. Criteria included impacting the lives of people in Bermuda through professional or volunteer work.
Save $1.50 per pound on fresh XL assorted pork chops, only $3.49 per pound. Save $4 per package on fresh strawberries, just $4.99 for a 1-pound package. Simply 5,000 double-rolled toilet tissue, only $3.49 for a package of 4. Makes a great and quick meal. ShopRite spaghetti, only $1.19 for a 16-ounce box. Save 80 cents on 1-liter bottles of regular or Diet Coke or regular Sprite soda, only $2.09. All stores open until 10 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
For much more furniture, visit Bermuda's only Ashley Furniture Gallery. Big Savings Zone. You want the best? Forget the rest. For all your furniture needs, shop Big Savings Zone and support your local retailers. Have you ever ordered something online expecting it to be a certain price, but when it arrives it ends up being a whole lot more? Beware of those unexpected hidden fees. That never happens at Big Savings Zone. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Big Savings Zone at the end of Stocks Road, St. David's.
Digicel Postpaid Refresh is here. Get any of the latest smartphones with no money down. Easy monthly payments start at only $10 per month. Choose from a wide range of devices. Pay absolutely nothing up front and only $35 per month for a Samsung Galaxy S4 or $40 per month for a BlackBerry Q10. And then upgrade to a new smartphone whenever you like. Digicel Postpaid Refresh for all Digicel customers. Join Digicel today. Now you can bring your number with you. Visit digicelbermuda.com for details. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Bermuda is an easy way to find great discounts while discovering fun activities to do in Bermuda.
Discover the best spas, restaurants, activities, services, and shops at 50% off.
Sign up to Bermuda and start saving today.
Minister of National Security Michael Dunkley today presented the budget for his super ministry, which now includes Customs, the Post Office, the Police, the EMO, Corrections, and the Regiment. He was asked if there was any risk of the cuts that have been made having a negative impact on performance.
I would have to say no. The first thing that I made, comments that I made in the brief that I gave earlier today was the fact that for the current financial year 2013-14, which ends at the end of this month, the Ministry of National Security will come in over $1 million under budget. This was done implementing the programs and the policies we set and still providing the services, whether it be at the police, at the regiment, at the corrections, Department of National Drug Control, those various areas. The ministry expands now in 2014 with the addition of the Post Office and Customs, and thus we have a bigger budget. I fully anticipate, even with this cost cut that has to take place, that our department heads will still be able to deliver all of their services, keep people safe, and do the programs that we expect, and meet that budget. I'm pleased to be able to have the opportunity to work in the Ministry of National Security because there's a diligent team led by PS Mark Telemack, and we're all very clear that we understand the challenges that government has fiscally, and we understand that we have to be creative in dealing with those challenges fiscally, but at the same time providing the services people want, whether it's public safety in the police and Customs and Bermuda Fire and Rescue Service, or whether it's border control and customs, or whether it's taking a look at the post office model and improving efficiency and making sure that the post office in 2014 and beyond is going to be a model for modern business.
The leading role that the Bermuda insurance market has played over the past 30 years in the birth of captives, reinsurers, cat writers, and excess casualty suppliers has given her a unique position as one of the world's top 3 risk capital centers. Now, with the prediction that the new boy on the block, insurance-linked securities, will attract $144 billion during the next 5 years, the stage is set for another important breakthrough. Caroline Folger, chairman of the board of the Bermuda Business Development Agency, was asked if the emergence of BDA as a PPP-funded entity with an enlarged staff owed this to the arrival of ILS, better known as investing in insurance.
It's certainly part of it, and the BDA is here, as you rightly said, to help grow the economy and help provide more on-island jobs. So in growing our team, as you referred to, we made a decision at BDA that under the previous evolution of business development organisations, quite a lot of business was outsourced, and a fair amount of that was outsourced off the island, which was probably important to do at the time under a previous model. But as time has moved along, first of all, there are more Bermudians, quite frankly, looking for employment, more talented Bermudians available to this sort of an organisation, and we made the decision to go out and try and find the best people we could, who could actually be on the ground here. The best people to tell the story about Bermuda are the people who know and love Bermuda best. What we're trying to do is acting as that link where we have funding from both and resources from both, and actually providing the voice of Bermuda to the world. The other thing the BDA does is actually also act as a filter. So lots of people in the IB community have great ideas about things like legislation or regulation, that Bermuda's got a great reputation for being business friendly, but there are always enhancements, and we were speaking earlier about ILS. That's a great example of an area where Bermuda now has a dominant share of the market. We have 44% in total, but if you look at the last couple of years, and particularly the last quarter, we have 2/3 of the new business in ILS that's being created worldwide is being created in Bermuda. And that's because of our regulatory and legal infrastructure.
Does ILS present any kind of a potential for feet on the ground?
It's a huge potential for feet on the ground, but what you won't see is a large building and 50 new employees in one company. So what I think you see, and it's harder to measure, is that in each of the organisations where ILS is forming part of their business, there'll be a smaller team of, say, 5 to 10 people being formed there, as well as the people in the professional services firms, the lawyers, the accountants, the brokers, and these sort of companies. Again, they're all servicing ILS as well. So either jobs are being sustained that might have been lost before, or they're being grown. But it's much easier for the general public to relate to a new building, a new startup, and 50 people. This is a bit more hidden, but it's very real. So it's tough to estimate, but I would say in the last 2 years, there's probably 50 to 100 jobs directly created in Bermuda as a result of the ILS growth.
Now, here's a look at the daily markets, presented by Bias.
Here are the daily markets presented by Bias. Global stock markets outside of the U.S. swung lower on Wednesday as economic uncertainty in China and the United States, as well as political tensions in Ukraine, kept investors cautious. U.S. stock markets erased losses earlier in the day as investors watched developments in Ukraine and weighed prospects for global economic growth. The S&P 500 inched up 0.03%, while the Nasdaq closed 0.37% higher. 41,336 shares of Bank of Butterfield traded today on the Bermuda Stock Exchange, with the price falling 1.01% to $2. 1,742 shares of Ascendant Group changed hands. The price fell 20% to $8. 9,200 shares of Keytech traded. The price was unchanged at $5.04. European shares fell on Wednesday, with shares in exporters among the hardest hit. The FTSE 100 fell 0.97% to 6,621, while Germany's DAX fell 1.28% to 9,189. Japan's Nikkei share average plunged 2.59% to 14,830 on Wednesday as investors locked in profits after a recent rally. Hong Kong's Hang Seng fell 1.65% to 21,902. Most Latin American equity markets ended lower. However, Brazil's Vsb gained for a second day as a rebound in iron ore prices pushed commodity producers higher. Treasuries rallied, sending yields lower as investors sought haven assets amid turmoil in Ukraine. Yields on 10-year U.S. Treasuries fell 5 basis points to 2.72%. The U.S. dollar weakened versus most major trading peers. The yen strengthened for a third day against the dollar as China's slowing economy boosted demand for haven assets. That was a look at the markets presented by Bias. There's more news after the break.
Save $2 on vine on tomatoes, only $2.99 per pound. Save $1.40 per pound on fresh Purdue chicken drumsticks value pack, only $1.99 per pound. Great savings of 70 cents on a dozen imported white eggs, only $2.39. All varieties of the yogurt 6-ounce tubs, only 99 cents. Soak up savings with Scott White paper towels, only $1.99 per roll. All stores open until 10 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
Copyfax is Bermuda's authorized Samsung dealer. See a large range of Samsung color and black and white multifunctional machines, printers, scanners, faxes, and copiers, and all net workable. Copyfax has Samsung machines suitable for home, office, or any size business in an A4 format, taking up less room than other similar equipment. And replacement supplies are in stock for all of their Samsung products. Affordable shopping at Copyfax Limited, where service comes first.
The theme was innovation, and as the Butterfield and Vallis trade show opened today at the Fairmont Hamilton Princess, an innovative array of chef's supplies and a cornucopia of foods were on display. Bermuda Tourism Authority executives Bill Hanbury and Carla Lacey opened the show, after which Hanbury stressed the importance of food in the visitor experience.
Food and wine are incredibly important to the global tourism market these days. Matter of fact, it's driving a lot of the tourism economy around the world. People want great food experiences, great wine experiences when they come to destinations, and I would suggest to you that Bermuda is right up there with the best of destinations when it comes to those kinds of assets. With technology, with food innovation, actually with additional new shipping solutions that gets provisions here, gets produce here quicker and more efficiently, we are absolutely at the top of our game when it comes to food and when it comes to wine. Also, we have great selections, and so as the head of the Tourism Authority, I'm very excited about the opportunity to promote those kinds of assets to the global tourism market.
Aspiring chef and Bermuda College culinary student Erin Woods regarded the show as an eye-opener.
A show like this can open up my eyes to what's out there and what's available in Bermuda. I think as a culinary student I can appreciate the different type of methods it is in bringing in foods from different places around the world. In Bermuda we're very limited, but Butterfield and Village does a really good job of doing the best to bring a pretty big variety of food.
Is there a way we can inculcate Bermudian dishes with some of your continental fare?
Yeah, I'm always a believer in taking well, what you'd say old school ideas and modernizing it, or putting your own personal twist on it, for sure, and using local ingredients. I'm always a believer in going local first before you'd have to pull from overseas.
And from this Butterfield and Village food show, you're definitely taking away some ideas, are you?
Well, once I look through, I'm sure I will be inspired.
Food is in the National Tourism Plan, and restaurants are in the National Tourism Plan, and we need to emphasize it. We need to focus on it. I would suggest to you in the past we probably haven't accentuated that as much as we should, and it's certainly part of our plan of work in the go forward to really focus on restaurants, focus on the wine and the great beverages that exist here too. I mean, we're known around the world for our great rum, so we ought to be promoting it on island.
The island's leading junior and senior cyclists are jetting out for competition soon. In the first part of an interview, the president of the Bermuda Bicycle Association, Peter Dunn, speaks about mountain bike racing and 5 youngsters traveling to New York.
We're just coming to the end of our normal mountain bike season, and this Sunday will be the national championships for mountain biking. That's going to be held out at Ferry Reach on Sunday morning. So that's going to be a really great event. You know, I think the turnout for mountain biking has been exceptional, and so that it's going to be a great event. And mountain biking is growing very, very quickly, just like road did.
Who's some of the leaders? Not all of them, but who's doing extremely well there?
Well, it's a category, we have various categories, and so at the top end, we still have Dominique Mayo, Mark Hatherley, Neil de St. Croix, guys who are both on and off road, very capable, and that's exciting to see. Also, we have some new guys emerging, I think, in racing in the lower categories, but are really beginning to make a name for themselves, plus some juniors. So we've seen incredible performances from Robin Horsfield and Dylan Hill and a bunch of other young guys who have done really well in that discipline.
Sure. But the season proper begins March 30th, end of the month?
Right, at the end of this month we'll start with our regular road season, so we're going to start with a criterium in Hamilton that's organized by the Fast Forward Bicycle Works team, and then rapidly move through a very active season almost every other weekend for 6 months.
Yeah. I understand some youngsters heading up to the Big Apple?
Yeah, I'm taking 5 high school students to compete in a high school mountain bike league that just started last year in New York. And last year I took Deshae Smith, and he's able to compete again this year. Plus we have 4 others who are all high school students. It's only for high school students, and it's organized along the lines as you would see other high school sports in the States. There's a freshman race, there's a junior varsity race, and a varsity race. So it's really well organized, and it's a national movement now, the high school mountain biking in the States.
Yeah. Peter, I know it's going to be busy and time is flying. We're almost into summer already. Commonwealth Games is approaching very fast. How many athletes or cyclists could we see heading to the Commonwealth Games?
Well, we expect to have two athletes there. We expect Dominique Mayo to represent the men and Nicole Mitchell in the women's road races. There'll be a time trial and a road race, and we fully expect that both of them will be there. And they are both very active preparation, both in terms of their coaching and their overseas racing to get them prepared for that. So both of them are planning now also to go to the Continental Championships, which is the first thing that's going to be held in Puebla, Mexico. And Bermuda has never been represented at this Continental Championships, which is it's one step below World Championships. So it's a very high level competition.
Choose to be healthy, Bermuda. Get out there and exercise with a sunscreen, hat, and shirt on every day. Eat healthy, don't smoke, and check your brown spots once a month to detect skin cancer early. Anything growing darker, bigger, jagged borders needs to be checked. Wear your sunscreen, hat, and shirt every day. Be sun safe, Bermuda.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's VSB weather forecast. Temperatures for today, we had a high of 74 at 12:30 in the afternoon and a low of 67 at 6 in the morning. Current conditions, 70 degrees, humidity 75%, wind south-southwest 18 to 22 knots, and barometric pressure is falling at 29.90 inches. Rainfall index for the month of March, 2.14 for a yearly total of 16.45. Yearly normal for this time is 12.03 inches. And looking at the satellite, a trough increases winds tonight and brings a few showers as it passes. Winds continue to increase Thursday morning as an active cold front draws near. Showers and a chance of thunder are expected Thursday afternoon with occasional gales as the front passes. Winds begin decreasing by Friday afternoon as high pressure builds in. And looking at the gateway cities, Atlanta, sunny, 51, Boston, mostly cloudy, 27, Charlotte, sunny, 48, London, 40 and sunny, Miami, 76, also sunny, New York, partly cloudy, 28, Orlando, sunny and 67, Philadelphia, 30 and mostly cloudy, Toronto, 18 and sunny, Washington, 34 degrees and sunny. And back at home tonight, mostly cloudy with a few showers, mainly late tonight with a low near 67, wind south-southwest 15 to 20 knots, and then increasing to 20 to 30 knots. And tomorrow, cloudy, occasional showers and a chance of thunder by late afternoon with a high near 72, wind south-southwest 22 to 32 knots, then veering northwest and picking up 25 to 35 knots with gusts up to 50 knots. Marine tonight, small craft warning, seas inside the reef 1 to 2 feet, seas outside the reef 4 to 8 feet. The sea surface temperature is 69 degrees. And marine tomorrow, small craft warning continues, seas inside the reef 3 to 5 feet, seas outside the reef 12 to 18 feet. High tide will be at 7:30 in the evening and low tide will be at 1:37 in the afternoon. And looking at the 5-day forecast, Friday, sunny periods with a few morning showers, windy, high near 63. Saturday, mix of sun and cloud, high near 64. Sunday, sunny periods, high near 66. And Monday, sunny periods, a few showers overnight with a high near 73. Thank you to Michelle Pitcher, our meteorologist for tonight, and everyone at the Bermuda Weather Service. I'm Rachel Sawden. Have a great evening.
Thanks for tuning in to the TV 11 News. We'll look forward to your company again tomorrow night. Good night.
Peter Cattell's attire, courtesy of A.S. Cooper & Sons Limited. Wardrobe and makeup for Rachel Sawden, provided by Gibbons Company.
Vsb Tv 11, Bermuda.